Hello and welcome to the Central Television. I am Lekon Onobanjo, the top stories at this hour. At least 35 feared dead, several injured in Anambra, Abuja stampedes. NNPCL slashes petrol price to 899 Naira per litre. French President highlights Djibouti's strategic importance to Indo-Pacific strategy. Details to come your way shortly. It's been one tale of deadly stampede after another this week, beginning with the Christmas funfair crush in Ibadan, the Abia State capital, on Wednesday, that claimed about 35 lives. And today, similar incidents occurred first in Okija, Anambra State, where 27 people were reported to have lost their lives, and in the nation's capital, Abuja, where the lives of 10 people were cut short, bringing the total number of deaths from the stampede to at least 72. The victims comprised the young and old, driven by hunger and a rush for handouts or palliatives from individuals who reached out to alleviate their plight but could not manage the large crowds of anxious Nigerians. We'll now bring you the details of these stories for you tonight. Even as we take you to the nation's capital, Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has allayed the fears of the public over the recent tragedy at the Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Abuja, the venue of a food palliative distribution tragedy where 10 persons lost their lives, saying the survivors are recuperating and receiving treatment at various hospitals within the capital. The tragic incident occurred in the early hours of Saturday in the Maitama area of Abuja. Our correspondent Joshua Imarai visited the scene and filed in this report.
Behind me here is the Holy Trinity Catholic Church here in Maitama, Abuja, where it all went down. What was supposed to be a charitable event ended up disastrous, with 10 people losing their life and 8 people being nursed currently in the hospital.
Remnants of the palliative food items which were meant to be distributed to the less privileged and elderly at the Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Maitama, Abuja. Untouched and now wasted, they tell a story of another tragedy that will linger in the minds of many in the capital. According to eyewitnesses, the stampede occurred in the early hours of the day, even before the proper distribution of the food items could begin.
It's in the morning because of hungry. Not to want to enter inside this place. They never recall people to enter because of hungry. As not to they enter, people rush. They begin mash themselves. As now mash themselves. Yeah. Even when we get big belly, pregnant women, then one die.
We decided to visit one of the hospitals in the area where the victims of the stampede were taken to for treatment. Upon arrival, we were informed that we could not see the victims, but had the opportunity to speak with the mandate secretary in charge of women and children of the Federal Capital Territory Administration.
My understanding is that there were 10 casualties, 8 of which were adults, 2 children, sadly. There are 2 survivors, children, who I just came to visit, Helena and Gabriel. And I'm happy to state that what was the crisis situation in the ICU has been managed. In the emergency ward has been managed, and they're doing well.
To prevent incidents like this, the Nigerian Police Force Headquarters has advised citizens planning to host public events to ensure adequate security arrangements are made in advance to avoid similar occurrences. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
In a related development, at least 27 people were feared dead following a stampede in Okija, Ihiala local government area of Anambra State. The tragic incident occurred during a Christmas rice distribution event organized by a local foundation to aid the less privileged. It was gathered that victims were mostly women and children who were gathered at the gate, struggling to gain entrance amid a very large and uncontrollable crowd. Several injured victims were rushed to the local hospital, while the bodies of the deceased were taken to the morgue. The annual charity event, spearheaded by philanthropist and chieftain of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Ernest Obejesi, known as Obi Jackson, turned deadly due to the overwhelming crowd. Meanwhile, Anambra State Police operatives have taken over the scene in Okija for proper investigation. Still on stampedes, President Bola Tinubu has cancelled all his official engagements in Lagos, including his planned attendance at the 2024 Lagos Boat Regatta to honor the victims of the tragic stampedes in Abuja and Okija, Anambra State. The twin tragedies claimed several lives and left many injured, prompting the president to forego the regatta, which he was set to watch from the waterfront of his Queen's Drive residence in Ikoyi. In a statement issued on Saturday by Bayo Ononuga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, it was revealed that dignitaries, including top Lagos state officials and white-cap chiefs, were already in attendance when the President decided to cancel his appearance after being briefed on the incidents. Now, the Niger Police Force has warned groups and individuals planning to organize fun fairs or distribute palliatives without involving security agencies, saying that any negligence resulting to the death of citizens will be treated as a criminal case. This followed two recorded incidences in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, and Ihiala local government area of Anambra State, which tragically resulted to the loss of about 13 persons, including children, during the distribution of palliatives. The force public relations officer expressed concern over the unfortunate incidents, saying that unorganized distributions of palliatives and fun fairs pose a significant threat to public safety.
In light of this development, the IGP has called on government officials, community leaders, and non-governmental organizations to work collaboratively towards establishing a comprehensive and organized framework for distributing palliatives. The IGP has hereby warned groups and organizers of similar events to ensure the involvement of security agencies, particularly the Nigerian Police Force, as negligence on their part is criminal and would not be overlooked, as provided for in Section 196 of the Penal Code and Section 344 of the Criminal Code laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And joining us to further discuss this is a public affairs analyst, Moses Idika. Mr. Idika, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, Nigerians.
You're welcome. Now, being privy to the news around people losing their lives, including children in stampedes in a humanitarian cause, what were the thoughts that ran through your mind?
My heart goes out to the families of everyone that fell victim to this tragedy in Ibadan, in Okija, and earlier today in Abuja. It's a very, very unfortunate situation. This is a season where when people share love, when people reunite with families and are happy, but for several families across Nigeria, they are in mourning mood because of the stampedes. However, it is just a pointer, a sign of the times that we found ourselves. You see, Nigeria, a hitherto prosperous country, has now become a nation where people scamper for food. When you go around, when you drive around town, you see people, scavenging for food in dump sites everywhere, and that is why this thing keep happening every day. And it's an indictment on the government and all our policy formulators, because it shows that nothing is really working in our country today.
Okay, so one thing that remained constant in these incidents were the venues were overcrowded. Secondly, children made up the most of the casualties. We didn't have it this bad in the country some years ago. Can the leaders do better?
Yes, you find out that, for example, the Catholic Church is well known for its, activities along this direction of, giving out things to vulnerable people in the society. The Obi Jackson Foundation too, this is not the first time. It's been happening for several years. And you find out that people now scamper. You look at it, In Ibadan, for example, the organizers of the event in Ibadan said they were going to give out 5,000 naira to 5,000 persons, and they will offer free food. And at the end of the day, 35 persons, mostly children, died just to get 5,000 naira or to get free food. 5,000 naira is just a little above $3. And that is the summary of how dire the situation has become. You see, in Abuja, you also see it. Maitama is the heart of Abuja town. It's the nearest satellite town is like 10 kilometers from Maitama. But by 5 a.m., more than 3,000 persons had gathered around the church. For how many? For rice that's maybe in Abuja they say mudu, maybe 2 mudu of rice, and several persons are dead. So what this tells us is that the government, all the figures we keep hearing them reeling out every day, they tell us our economy is growing by 2 digits, our economy is growing, we've made more money, and external reserve is now buoyant. But when you come home to Nigeria, all these figures do not translate into any changes in the life of the people.
But the government has, like you said, come out to say that it has provided sort of cushionings for homes and families. And the fact that we've seen situations where they said that they're hoping to ensure even distribution of wealth to all the regions. If we are not seeing that happen, what can be done to make it happen?
You see, I understand, like every other Nigerian, that what is happening today in Nigeria didn't just start with President Tinubu's government. It started long ago. Successive governments have always paid lip service to issues that has to do with, or that have to do with economic development of the country, empowering the citizens, creating opportunities where people can work and earn decent living. Nigerians are not known for begging for food. Nigerians all over the world are reputed to be people who work hard, who are creative, who are always willing to work, who go all out to achieve successes. But the policies of the government in the last 1 decade has, it has somehow shrunk everybody, shrunk the economy. You cannot say, the scariest of all of it is that there is no sign that there is any light at the end of this tunnel. And that is a call to duty to all government, from local government to state to the federal government, to actually begin to put on their creative caps to think of the way forward. Because what we see today in a country where people are dying because of 5,000 naira, you find out that in that same country, the people who are the helm of affairs are living in massive opulence, buying new planes, buying the latest vehicles, opening mansions here and there, banding billions of figures, and the people are dying of hunger. So the government, obviously, whatever the government is doing is not working. So there has to be a change of tactics, there has to be a change of strategy and policy, because the situation we find ourselves today in Nigeria is a time bomb.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Moses Idika, Public Affairs Analyst, for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much.
Away from that, former Speaker of the 9th House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has attributed the North's current state of backwardness to its leaders. He also urged Nigerians to support President Bola Tinubu in transforming the nation through the tax reform bills currently awaiting the endorsement of the National Assembly. Dogara spoke as a guest speaker at a town hall meeting for Christian leaders in northern Nigeria. The former speaker lamented that Arawa political leaders mismanaged opportunities to lead Nigeria for over 40 years, leaving the region plagued with poverty and underdevelopment. According to Dogara, Northerners should resist the temptation to blame President Tinubu for the North's current plight. A break will do here on the news. When we return, Nigerian government denies involvement in Niger pipeline attacks. Details to come shortly. Join us again. Many thanks for being there. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has revealed that the military is holding discussions with the federal government regarding the engagement of military retirees. According to him, military retirees have acquired significant capabilities that should not be allowed to go to waste. He emphasized that retirees should be considered for board appointments, expressing confidence that they could have a greater impact outside active service. The defense chief spoke during a 2024 send-off cocktail party organized to honor 18 retired and retiring generals. Musa urged the retired and retiring generals to remain prepared to serve the nation when called upon, noting that discussions about their engagement are still ongoing. To discuss this, we're joined by the National Secretary, retired members of Nigeria Armed Forces, Roy Oedibe. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Roy, on the news. Can you please unmute your device? We can't hear you.
My device is unmuted.
Okay, yes, so we can hear you now. So how do you feel about the possibility of having military retirees being considered for appointments by government and, of course, maybe other security-related engagements?
Well, this is coming as a surprise because the veteran community, we are all shocked to see this broadcast because currently in the past 6 to 7 years, there has still been an active re-engagement of military veterans into areas that there is paucity of professionalism and expertise. So we are shocked that it's been announced and it's giving us some feelers that we are not comfortable with. One of such feelers is that he's talking at the passing out of military generals and re-engaging military generals into the military does not really give you the thinker that you need because every general needs to command a troop. And if it is talking about ideas into the terrorism escapade that we are in Nigeria, ideas have not been the reasons that we have not left terrorism in Nigeria. And if you are talking about military veterans, just recently, military veterans went on a protest and they sealed up the Ministry of Finance because of unpaid statutory allocations. So if you are coming to bring in some people from the military veteran community, then you are trying to tamper justice with a rigmarole.
So if you say that the reasons why terrorism have not ended in the country has nothing to do with expertise, so what are the reasons why Nigeria has not toppled insurgents within its space?
Well, we all know that definitely so many senior citizens in Nigeria and high-ranking government officials have come out one way or the other to say that they are aware that there is no political will. We are also aware that there are many terrorists and bandits that have been arrested, that have also submitted themselves under the pressure of the sacrifices of Nigerian troops. And these guys are being romanced in the guise of de-radicalization process, and they are enjoying their coolers in certain camps prepared for them. So there is always no proper penalty, no sharp consequences to the crime of terrorism and banditry in Nigeria. And you know also that there is this political connotation, religious connotation, and ethnic connotation using as a guise to create favoritism for criminal elements that go into terrorism in Nigeria.
So does this mean that this call to service from the government and the top echelons in the Nigerian military, it's not something that retired military personnel do not trust, and you probably might not be willing to engage?
There was a time some few years back when we did protest and we sealed up the Ministry of Defense. After the minimum wage was paid, The president then was a military veteran, Buhari. The Minister of Defense was a military veteran. I think there are 3 senior military veterans in key positions, and they all got alerts from that protest, which I slept outside the gate of the Ministry of Defense for 2 days. Now, every military personnel that is a veteran right now, amongst those that prepared themselves for retirement by being opportune to tamper with government resources, those are the ones not crying. The people that are sincere, patriotic, and faithful to the calling of a soldier and left the military today, they are outside beggarly. So who are you coming to call? The people you have called already are for political reasons and to grease their elbows. But if you want to get results with bandits, there are soldiers even serving right now that can rout them out within a week in Nigeria.
So basically, we're talking about, quality governance, improving that, and of course, having a better society. What do you think will be the right thing to do, based on what you've said, as regards how the Nigerian government has treated or related with retirees, and what the retirees can do to also help facilitate a better society?
That's a wonderful question. Currently now, I am in Texas engaging in some security parameters. Now, everybody is anxious, and if you want to leave the service, because you don't even know where you are going to outside the service in Nigeria, you are not sure if your statutory emolument will be paid, you are not sure if you will get continuous healthcare, housing, and recognition. So you are not sure if you have any kind of security at all, because anywhere you go with your kids, the bandits, the criminal elements, they are pointing fingers that that's a retired military personnel. And they kidnap our guys every day. Among people they kidnap most, you ask, they will tell you who are the military veterans here. Once you come out, they kill you. Even vehicles are stopped on the road, they ask questions. So the government should look at a robust exit plan for military veterans. We have asked for the Veteran Federation of Nigeria because the current Nigerian Legion have been decapacitated. So Veteran Federation of Nigeria, the bill is with the National Assembly, the president is aware, everybody is aware, because we have gone through all channels to bring it out. It's not been done. Then even the palliative, that you heard about the palliative, that they said the minister was corrupt and all of that, has not been paid. So many things need to be done to make the exit plan of a military personnel envious. You know, you should go to the airport, you should see a logo there saying, thank you for your service. You know, you should go and buy a land or pay for your children's school, and they say, are you a military veteran? You say, yes, sir. You say, you have 20% discount. You say, oh, thank you very much. You know, you should go and do anything you want to do as a military veteran, and you see discounts left, right, and center. You know, we don't have all of that. And the government itself has not placed military veterans advantage positions to run their own affairs. In the Military Pension Board, in the Directorate of Veterans Affairs under the Ministry of Defense, there are no veterans there in key positions. And these are the things that are making it look like it is just slavery in service and slavery out of service.
All right, big issues were actually raised, Mr. Roy Oedibe, looking at this. But finally, before I let you go, does this mean that if there are no assurances from government in terms of welfareism, protection, and every other thing you've mentioned, this particular sort of relationship that the government is hoping to have might not materialize?
I'm telling you from the point of view of the coalition of concerned military veterans. All military veterans body have come together. Even Nigerian Legion, state chairman and all that, they are inside the coalition of concerned military veterans. We even have a 5-man committee right now interfacing with the federal government, you know. And I tell you as the director of media that nothing tangible will come out from any relationship that is outside the architecture of the Veterans Federation of Nigeria. We used 3 days retreats to form those documents. we used another 3 days retreat in Abuja to harmonize the document. When this new minister came, he created a 5-man committee, and we used this 5-man committee interfacing with the gamut of veteran bodies to interface with that document and review it with just some little cracks here and there. We need to present it, we need to have an interface portal, not individual discussions with one retired general or one retired this or that. No, you need a portal that could harmonize all the intelligence, the expertise of the military veterans. If you see in our time, as a special forces soldier, paratrooper, or like a crocodile amphibious personnel that I was, and a bomb disposal expert trained in Makurdi, these are things that we can get into any terrorist zone and pull them out if there is the will.
Well, basically, it seems as though there's a need for a lot of pipeline works if we're hoping to tap into your wealth of expertise as veterans in the country. We hope that that will be done soon. Thank you so much, Mr. Roy Ohidibie, the National Secretary, retired members of Nigeria Armed Forces, for your time on the news.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
Of course. Away from that, President of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, has commended President Bola Tinubu for the positive impact of the Naira-for-Crude swap deal on the Nigerian economy, which has led to lower petroleum prices. The refinery also announced its partnership with MRS petrol station to sell fuel from its retail outlets nationwide at 935 naira per litre, ensuring the reduction benefits consumers. The refinery had earlier announced a price drop to 899 naira 50 kobo per litre for marketers, coupled with credit facilities to ease distribution. The price cuts have sparked competition in the downstream sector, with NNPC Limited reducing its price to 899 naira per litre. Dangote urged other marketers to collaborate in providing high-quality petrol at affordable rates. The Naira-for-Crude policy implemented in October has also eased pressure on the dollar and stabilized the naira. In the meantime, the federal government of Nigeria has denied allegations of Nigerian authorities of involvement in the December 13 attack on the Niger-Benin oil pipeline in Gaya-Doso region, Niger Republic. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Kemibe Ebiemfa refuted claims that Nigerian security forces collaborated with the Lakurawa terrorist group in the incident. The government expressed condolences to Niger over the attack, but emphasized its commitment to combating terrorism and dissociated itself from such groups. Nigeria also dismissed allegations of French military presence in northern Nigeria aimed at destabilizing Niger, calling them baseless. Reaffirming its cordial relations with both Niger and France, Nigeria underscored its dedication to peaceful and cooperative ties based on mutual respect and non-interference. We take you to the eastern part of the country to tell you that Abia State House of Assembly says it is doing everything within its powers to expedite actions in the 2025 appropriation bill brought before it by the Governor, Alex Otti. The Deputy Speaker of the State Assembly, who doubles as the House Committee Chairman on Information, Austin Okezie, told journalists in Umuahia that the performance of the 2024 budget has inspired the legislature to work for the passage of the bill before the end of 2024. He also said the executive had done well in some critical sectors such as health, education, and infrastructure, adding that the environment that was done was to ensure that areas of need are not left unattended to. Governor Alex Otti recently presented the 2025 budget estimate of 750 billion 282 million 200,000 naira only to the State House of Assembly.
The House Committee on Appropriation and that of Budget and Planning is a combined committee. They are actually busy going through the budget defense with the various MDS, ministries, departments, and agencies. And so far, so good. And we have the mandate to make sure we go through and finish to enable the governor sign it into law on or before 31st December. This is in line with, just to make sure the monies are budgeted or allocated to certain sectors are being properly utilized. And I stand firm to tell you that so far from what we have seen, we have to commend them. The performance for 2024 is commendable, hence the need for us to, put our feet on the ground to make sure this present budget appropriation bill that has been laid before us.
Looking at other stories now, land grabbing has long been a persistent issue across various parts of Nigeria, often leading to disputes that escalate into violence and crisis. This has plunged some communities into full-scale conflicts, resulting in the loss of lives, the destruction of homes and property valued at billions of naira. News Central's Austin Azu reports on how these issues can be resolved without violence, using some affected communities in Delta State as a case study.
Regarded as a natural resource vital for human existence, providing necessities such as food, water, shelter, and overall well-being. The issue of land ownership has sparked numerous conflicts among communities, families, and individuals over the years. A notable example in Delta State is the land dispute between Okwama and Okoloba communities, which tragically resulted in death of 17 soldiers who were deployed to Okwama on peacekeeping mission that ended in disaster.
Two-story building belongs to Reverend Father Sylvester Enoma.
Currently, a brewing crisis seems to be emerging from a land dispute between Obolokiti and Ogwashuku, Nanosha South local government area of Delta State. A group of youth from Obolokiti, angered by what they perceived as trespassing, stormed a bush area and confronted police officers from Zone 5 while they stationed there to monitor loggers' activities. The youth accused Obi Ifechukudi Anisha Okonjo II, the traditional ruler of Ogwashuku Kingdom, of encroaching on their land.
Please, we want them to stay away from our community land. Ubulokiti and all other neighboring towns have an established boundary over the years.
See the level of encroachment and devastation. You can see they've destroyed people's farm. Land grabbers have come through the Ogwashuku people and the Otome family of Esogwash, all the way from that side. And they came and they destroyed everything. You see these are farms that have been evacuated. You cannot see anything like farm again. All farming activities have been destroyed.
Efforts to obtain response from the traditional ruler of Ogwashuku Kingdom were unsuccessful, as no statement was provided by the palace during her visit. The Obi of Obolono Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Heriki Kachuku, who also serves as the second vice chairman of the Delta State Traditional Rulers Council, has called for traditional rulers to oversee boundary adjustments, given their role as custodians of land.
Bordering on land. When such issue comes up, the first point of call usually is the traditional rulers, because some of the way the traditional institution is fashioned out here is such that there are many of the traditional rulers here that their thrones are hereditary. And most of those thrones are repository of knowledge, where you know nearly everything in and around you. So if issues arose bordering on land, the traditional rulers are in the best position to actually know originally who owns that land.
However, the special advisor to the state government on peace and conflict resolution, Edwin Uzo, said the state government has established a commission of inquiry to investigate the land ownership disputes between Obolokiti and Ogwashuku.
The land grabbing issue has become so worrisome, particularly some of the areas. And we have been dealing with those matters. The state has been dealing with those matters. Our advice is that even the investors who are making this urge to be more serious should always ask questions properly of ownership of land.
Albert Einstein once said, "Peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding." Reporting from Asaba for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
Let's talk about education now. The Adamawa State government has taken a major step towards transforming its education sector. It has launched a comprehensive new policy aimed at enhancing the quality of learning in schools as part of recovery efforts from the impact of insurgency. The policy, developed in consultation with education experts and stakeholders, focuses on key areas such as teacher training, student assessment, and improved school infrastructure. The state government has pledged to ensure that every child in Adamawa State receives a high-quality education that equips them for success in today's world. The policy's launch, held in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, was a collaborative initiative involving the state government, the Malala Fund, and the Center for Advocacy, Transparency, and Accountability Initiative.
A keynote that unlocks the bountiful opportunities that put the pieces of our reforms in the education sector together. This policy launch is partly a reconfirmation of this administration's declaration of unwavering commitment to education as the cornerstone of our collective progress and prosperity.
The launch of the Adamawa State education policy is not just a ceremonial event, but a testament to the collective will, dedication, and vision of every stakeholder involved in this comprehensive endeavor.
Coming up on the news, French President highlights Djibouti's strategic importance to Indo-Pacific strategy. We will tell you more when we are back. To stay with us. Let's now tell you that French President Emmanuel Macron has highlighted Djibouti's strategic importance to France's Indo-Pacific strategy, stating that its military base there could assume a greater role amid shifting dynamics in Africa. Speaking to French troops stationed in Djibouti, Macron emphasized that France's role in Africa has evolved due to changing public opinion, governance, and regional challenges. This comes as France has recently withdrawn troops from Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Chad Republic, following demands from military-led governments who have turned to Russia for support. Macron noted that Djibouti remains integral to African missions and the Indo-Pacific strategy, contributing to freedom of navigation in the Red Sea.
Cette présence Djibouti est bien sûr également orientée vers l'océan Indien et l'Indo-Pacifique. Et notre stratégie Indo-Pacifique, réaffirmée, consolidée depuis le printemps 2018, ne pourrait se faire sans justement les forces françaises de Djibouti et ce qu'elles permettent de faire, en même temps que c'est un point d'appui pour des opérations essentielles.
It's now time for business news.
In business, we begin in Nigeria, where the federal government is expected to provide 50% of the $2 billion needed to complete Nigeria's ambitious 90,000-kilometer fiber optic project. Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, revealed this during an interview. Tijani confirmed that the initiative, part of the government's 2025 borrowing plans, aims to enhance digital infrastructure nationwide. He acknowledged strong backing from President Bola Tinubu, the Ministry of Finance, and his ministry, emphasizing the project's strategic importance for Nigeria's digital transformation. In Nigeria, NNPC Limited has lowered the ex-depot price of petrol from 1,020 naira to 899 naira per litre, enhancing competition in Nigeria's regulated downstream sector. This move is expected to encourage oil marketers to adjust prices, resulting in cost savings for consumers. Meanwhile, Dangote Refinery also reduced its ex-depot price to 899 naira 50 litre per litre, setting its retail price at 935 naira per litre. Reacting to the development, Joseph Obeli, the National Public Relations Officer of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, stated that the decision reflects growing competitive pressures within the sector, highlighting the positive impact of the regulation on consumer pricing and market efficiency. And in East Africa, the Uganda Securities Exchange experienced sharp trading volatility in 2024, affecting business activity and broker earnings. Weekly turnover rose from 202.99 million Ugandan shillings to 8.91 billion Ugandan shillings between November 4 to 8, but fell to 2.93 billion Ugandan shillings by November 15. Trading volumes similarly spiked from 3.3 million shares to 42.98 million shares. Despite fluctuations, investor interest in blue-chip stocks remained strong. And finally, the World Food Programme has received $118 million from USAID to support over 1 million displaced people in 7 Eastern African nations. This funding addresses a surge in displaced populations requiring emergency food assistance, which has doubled in the past 4 years. Beneficiary countries include Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, Djibouti, and the Republic of Congo. The support reflects WFP's urgent appeal for increased global aid to combat hunger and malnutrition in the region amid growing humanitarian crises. And that's our offering on business news at this time. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. The news continues shortly.
Up next is sports news.
Kwara State's Abdulbasit Abdul Fatai emerged victorious at the second Daniel Ford International Youth Table Tennis Championship, defeating defending champion Matthew Kuti of Lagos at the Molade Okoya Thomas Hall of Teslim Balogun Stadium. Abdul Fatai, who lost last year's final to Kuti, staged a remarkable comeback after trailing 3 sets to love, leveling the match at 3-3 before clinching the decisive 7th set, 11-8, in a thrilling finale. In the women's category, Kabirat Ayola from Lagos edged past compatriot Rabiu Aishat in a nail-biting 4-3 victory, also decided in the 7th set. The president of the African Table Tennis Federation, Eniton Oshodi, and Daniel Ford International CEO, Yemi Edun, praised the high standard of competition and event success, highlighting its role in promoting youth table tennis in Nigeria.
This is the work we've been doing for a few years now, bringing these young, fantastic players, forward. And today's performance was, the crowd really enjoyed it. It was a fantastic, worthy of any final at any level, believe me. And that's what we're trying to do to assist the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation. They need to be playing matches like this in front of big crowds like this. And that is the most important thing for us. I'm a very hard man to please. 10 years of world tournaments, we still get a few things wrong here and there, but overall, hard-working team. They've done well. Lagos State supporting the National Federation, and with the support of the media, you can always get better. But this today was a fantastic performance. The special guest of honor really pleased about what she saw here, and hopefully we can continue to improve over time.
Undoubtedly, they are talents, and competition would only bring out the best in them. So we are playing their part, and I think the talents are playing their part. People sat through the whole game. It was pulsating, and it was a shock because the defending champion lost, being three matches up. So this is good. This is good optics, and this is what we want to see.
Kano Pillars beat Niger Tornadoes 2-1 at the Sani Abacha Stadium in March Day 18 of the Nigeria Premier Football League. Rashid Alassan opened the scoring in the 30th minute mark following a free kick assist from Naziru Salisu. Ali Mohammed leveled the scores for Niger Tornadoes in the 60th minute. After constant pressure from the home team, Kano Pillars finally broke past the Tornadoes in the final minutes of the game with a goal from the team captain, Ahmed Musa. The win for Kano Pillars puts them 7th on the table. Manchester City's struggles continued as they suffered another defeat, this time at Aston Villa, making it 9 defeats in Pep Guardiola's past 12 matches. Goals from John Duran and Morgan Rogers sealed a 2-1 win for Villa, with Phil Foden's late strike offering little consolation for the visitors. The win lifts Unai Emery's Aston Villa to 5th on the table, 1 place above sinking City, who dropped to 6th. Pep Guardiola made 6 changes following last week's derby loss to Manchester United, but it made no difference. And that's a wrap on Sport Update. I am Udoka Njoko.
And that's all at this hour. But before we go, we'll look at our major stories again. At least 35 have been feared dead, several injured in Abuja stampedes. NNPCL has slashed the petrol price to 899 Naira per litre. We also told you that French President has highlighted Djibouti's strategic importance to Indo-Pacific strategy. Don't forget to watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times, 422 rather, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.